And yeah, welcome to Business Party Podcast, joined by me, my co-host, and our guest, DK2radio, as he's known on TikTok. Very libertarian aspected person, which I'm trying to get a lot more into understanding all of it, which I mean, I believe in all of it. It's definitely where my mindset is. But yeah, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit and some of your background.
Yeah, I'm DK2radio.gov on TikTok, DK2radio on everything else. I basically am just a guy that gets online and rants about politics and tries to push the liberty movement forward.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
which is pretty damn awesome because I see you whenever you do stitches and whatnot of people, the way that you explain stuff is like the best that I hear quite a few people explain things. Like you and voluntary or solutionary. I'm new to him quite a bit more, but I like a lot of his stuff too because it seems like you and him are right in that area of being able to kind of talk through things and like explain to people how a lot of those aspects can work.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites on TikTok. I like him a lot. I actually went live with him the one night. We wound up being live for like four night, like just for 4 hours talking to people and going back and forth. And it was a really good conversation.
Jeez. Right. And wasn't one of the dudes who was live with you too a Marxist or something?
Yeah, we had a Marxist on with us and I was going back and forth with him.
Right on. Hell yeah. We'll start, and we will be getting into some of that, but because I want to ask some of your arguments toward like Marxism and socialism, like because that's seems to be pretty fucking prevalent these days. But beyond that, how are you guys doing otherwise besides us getting into politics and whatnot? How have you been, Davey? Because I know that you just got out of work a little bit ago.
Yeah. Just got out of work a little while ago because I was watching a video of my partner cheat on me. But yeah, I haven't slept, dude. I'm gonna probably be punch drunk through this one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be punch drunk. I can't sleep. And I should be happy, and because I just got a bunch of toys to play with, and right now I just want to take an instant dirt nap, right in my wife's lap, which would be great. But yeah, no, I was watching some of your stuff, DK, and your tuition thing. I saw, and I was like, I've been saying that forever. I've been saying that with healthcare. I'm like, why are we trying to subsidize these things when we just fix it? Stop having stop having doctors having $1 billion worth of insurance just in case they decide they're going to leave a scalpel inside somebody, every 1 in a billion, 1 in a million people, know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the same thing. And you think, like I was saying, I moved out here to Kansas for everything to be cheaper. I went to McDonald's this morning because I haven't had McDonald's in a hot minute. You know how much for 2 of those sausage burritos, 2 hash browns, and an orange juice was?
What?
$10.
Jesus.
$10 for a burrito this big.
That's so not worth it.
No. And I was like, and I had a stomach surgery, so I can't eat much. I had 3 years ago, but like, I'm like, damn, $10, and for people to think that this loan forgiveness is just going to be like, oh, the school's going to go, okay, you guys are forgiven. We're not going to raise anything at all. Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Where people get
quickly. I'm quickly turning into one of those old men that, is ranting about how everything was so much cheaper back in my day.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Remember bazooka gum, 5 cents each. Now bazooka, $47 for a little canister.
Fucking bazooka gum, bazooka my fucking wallet. That's what it's fucking doing.
Remember you used to get a whole little comic strip. Now it's just one. You got to collect them all now.
Right.
It's getting so out of hand, and it's enraging for people who forget where this fucking money comes from.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't come from thin
Right.
air.
Right.
It doesn't come from thin air. And your parents should be the one telling you, hey, don't get that loan for $50,000 for a
Right.
semester.
Well, and
How
that's
about you be a parent?
and you see it a lot more. I mean, we hear people talking about it where they think that it's going to come from or who's going to pay for it. Unlike AOC, whenever you ask who's going to pay for it, she's like, you just do. But one of the last tweets that I saw, and I even said, like, I'm an idiot and I understand this, is some lady, I forgot who it was. She's like a blue check mark on Twitter saying, well, this is going to be paid for by the government, but it's like, it's our money that is going to be paid. We're paying for this. I'm not that smart and I understand that. Come on now. Like,
Hey,
you don't think inflation's going to go up by you just fucking forgiving? And it astounds me.
Hey, guess what? I still haven't got my fucking taxes back, scumbags.
Yeah. I want to know how many haven't.
Not to worry, they hired 87,000 new IRS agents just to make sure you get your refund back, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're gonna hand deliver that shit now. Yeah,
And I love when people go, well, they've been losing people. Good.
Right.
Fuck them.
Lose them all.
Yeah. There's no need for them. What for? Once again, it is against it. It's against. I don't know if it's against the law, but it's not proper for the federal government to take your taxes. You pay the taxes to the state pays the government. That's the way it's supposed to be. But they decided to take their grubby little hands and stick it in your asshole again. And there you go. Hoop-de-la. Now you got to pay state. Now you got to pay federal. And now I got to pay city tax because I live in a city in the middle of nowhere.
Yep. And you know what's interesting about the income tax on its own is that the federal government, when it was created, when we went from the Articles of Confederation to the Constitution, the federal government was never meant to directly govern the people. That was supposed to be delegated to the states for the most part. That's why we have the enumerated powers, of the federal government in the Constitution that, they're not supposed to handle direct governance of the people. And the income tax, when it was first implemented, was rejected by the court systems because it wasn't apportioned to the states. And eventually they passed and ratified the 16th Amendment, which is what enables them to directly tax the people. And it's kind of morphed the government to more directly govern the people as a result. And it's a disgusting growth of the government.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one thing that I keep hearing back and forth. I never really totally looked into it, but quite a few people have said that the 16th Amendment hasn't been ratified. I assume that it has been if they're collecting anything.
Yeah, I mean, essentially the 16th Amendment, the income tax was rejected by the courts for not being apportioned. And they when they ratified the 16th Amendment, essentially it was just the federal Congress saying, I understand that the court said that we can't do this legally, and now we're going to say that we can. And it's just kind of an override of it being rejected in the first place.
Right. And then again, and also then it comes down to, like, what would your main argument be whenever every time we say the taxes are theft, and then you hear, but my roads.
Because we didn't have roads before income tax.
Exactly. And to be honest, my main argument, what I kind of sit within is whenever I hear that, I'm like, okay, so if you want to be able to give any of your money to anything, why aren't you just worried about giving it to your state? Because your state is where you live. Exactly. Mo roads. Why don't you just give that money to your state? And if you want areas fixed, and then give a certain portion, we can all agree on certain things. Because personally, I, like quite a few others, think that taxes should be optional, and there should be ways to be able to pay certain percentages to where we agree upon, not the federal government itself being like, give us this or we're going to come to your house with a fucking gun.
Yeah, the same people that reject that argument, like when I say to someone taxation is theft, the same people that say that we have an obligation to pay and that voluntary solutions would never work are the same people that go into people's comment sections and tell them to put their Cash App in their bio so that they can donate when they see someone having a problem. Like you subscribe wholesale to voluntary solutions, just not this one. That you don't think that this is important enough for people to voluntarily put money into?
Right.
And if it's not important enough to voluntarily pay for, then I guess it's not important enough, is it?
Right.
Yeah.
And the only and then people will say, well, what about the infrastructure deal and stuff like that? Which, I mean, again, voluntary us to, pay into a certain amount, say what we can do, then take that. And then once that's done, do it the way the taxes should have been done. Then it gets fucking cut off and then we can start keeping our fucking money again.
Here's an idea though. Infrastructure. When have they fixed the infrastructure? They've been taxing us since all of us have been alive. And yet how many roads? I live in Kansas once again. The roads are shitty. I lived in Jersey and the roads were better. And we had snow. There ain't no snow here. They get snow for 10 minutes and then it's 97 degrees. There's no plows here. How are the roads so shitty here?
Mm-hmm.
And then they go, yeah, we got to go infrastructure. Okay, I don't see any infrastructure. I see 20 dudes on the corners begging for money, saying if anything would help. They're probably doing more for the roads than you guys.
Right. Domino's has done more for roads than the government.
Well,
exactly.
Right.
I'm in New York, and the craziest thing that people say when if you haven't been to the state of New York, when you drive into New York on the throughways, what you'll notice first that you don't notice in many other states is that we have a toll system on the throughways. So we pay tolls on top of state road taxes, on top of federal government taxes for all this infrastructure. And I'm going to tell you firsthand, there is no noticeable difference between the throughways in New York State and in Pennsylvania when you cross over the border. Nothing changes. Like, what is the point? What am I paying taxes on tolls for?
Yep.
Actually, well, listen, you live in South Canada, so I wouldn't say
South
you live
Canada.
in New York. All right. But yeah, I mean, it's in Jersey, there's a toll every 10 minutes, and it's still garbage. But yeah, the East Coast is they just want the coast, just take your money. And I mean, I don't know when the last time you went to the city was, but that Lincoln Tunnel or the George Washington Bridge from the Jersey side to New York is atrocious. The last time I think I saw it was $20 for a car.
Oh.
$20. And now in the morning, now you got the commuters, the people that are commuting there. 20, you just see ching, 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 ching. It's not a Chinese joke. Ching, 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 ching. And you just go, where'd that money go? Where's that money going? Like it's every day, and it's like a steady pace of people, and it's like, what the?
I mean, most of us kind of know where it's going, especially when Congress and all that, just gives himself a fucking raise, but then everyone's like, well, I mean. Oh man, like why don't we audit the fucking government? That's the one thing that I don't.
Because then we get another 9/11. That's why.
Yeah.
Because last time we tried to audit the government, we had 3,000 Americans just perish.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. Okay.
Well, all that so that the government can kind of just linger around like a crackhead, saying that they're broke, they need more money, and begging us all for money. And people, like, you get so many people online talking about how we need to give them more money. Why? It never ends.
Yeah,
exactly. If some of them wanted a little bit more money, why don't we start cutting the government down so much more that we're like, okay, if a few of them are making, which most of them do, up to $174,000 a year, why are so many of you making that when most of you are not even fucking good at your job?
And they're not fucking there. They're not there. Yeah. They're not in Washington, or in where they are. They're at home. They're sitting at home and just like, well, I don't think this should be. Did you motherfuckers lose a paycheck through this whole thing? No. You sat there. You sat at home. You're sitting there in your pajamas. You got a jacket on as a top. Your lips are hanging out, and you're just like, well, I don't think this person desires this. Go fuck yourself. I don't think you deserve it. I think you should get minimum wage and then have a job. Okay? That's the way it used to be. That's the way it should still be.
Right.
But, it's become a career for these people. and they just take the money and they just do what they want with it, and people just turn a blind eye. Oh, yeah, the government said I should do this. Maybe I should do this.
Well, I made a video a while back saying that we should take the pay for Congress back to per diem like it used to be.
Yes.
And you know how that it was never a full-time job, and we should make it per diem again. And some of the feedback that I got on it was, well, then only wealthy people will run for office. Only wealthy people run for office now. What are you talking about?
Right.
You need, what did they say? You need almost $1 billion to run for president.
Right.
Like what?
Like
when I was growing up, like anybody could be president. Yeah. When we were growing up, anybody could be president. Now anybody could be president for $1 billion.
Right. Exactly. Blizz, we're mainly talking about libertarian aspects and a whole lot of the government should get out of our pockets and
stay out of my bum hole.
Yeah.
Stay out of that. Stay out of there.
I just wish this one thing too, with all this money that's going over to Ukraine and whatnot, so much of it is not reaching the front lines. And it really makes me mad more that the politicians aren't making a fucking ruckus about it, because that's just constantly bringing up our inflation. I mean, like,
right.
What? I wish we could. I really do wish we could have like a straight tax revolt. I think that's my first step in anything, because everyone's like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna march on stuff? Whatever. Yeah, exactly. Money laundering. Well, we're not. If we organize and you play into their hands, that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, and they this whole Ukraine thing, and now they're starting to send money over to Taiwan. We're going to start shipping them arms. It's all really, we really need to get into a war. Like, that's what the government's doing subtly. They're not going to announce that that's what they're doing, but we really need to get into a war to fix these inflation problems and these monetary issues. And it's a continuous cycle that we go through. And we're just tempting Russia, we're tempting China, we're tempting the Middle East. We need, eventually they're going to manufacture their own tragedy so that we can hop right back into warfare, because it's the only thing that we can do to perpetually fix this inflation problem.
Right.
Yeah. Europe's got what? It jumped up to 9.1 in August. Inflation.
Yeah, I think so.
And I heard, I watch TikToks for some information, but it leaves you down a rabbit hole. But I heard that in countries in like China and overseas, people can't get into their bank accounts, and the government's just seizing their money. Now
it's happened.
I mean, maybe it has something to do with our president now signing stuff into law that they want to just go straight into no more cash, just straight credit or whatever. And they just, now they don't want you to order Domino's anymore. Now you can only order Pizza Hut. So you go to swipe your card or give them your number, and sorry, pal, no more Domino's for you.
That's one thing that they are definitely trying to do, is crash our economy in order to completely get rid of our dollar, to bring in that executive order 14067, where we will have just central bank digital currency, to where, like, if you're not a good boy, you can't buy that Pizza Hut.
Nope.
And if anybody wants to understand how dangerous central banking is, like you mentioned in China, the bank accounts being seized and frozen, that's a real thing. It happened, and there's protests going on over it. And the weird thing about those protests is that many of the protests, I was reading an article from like CNN, and they were talking about how the weird dynamic they noticed was many of the protesters were waving Chinese flags, and it looked very patriotic on the surface. And they talked to the protesters and like, why are you waving Chinese flags if you're protesting the government that is doing this? They control that central bank that's seizing your money. And they said, well, we have to wave these flags to let them know that we still love the government, and we're asking that they fix the problem, when we have faith that they're going to fix the problem. Like, on the outside looking in at that, how could anybody advocate for the same thing in the United States?
I know. Exactly. To see that, and the best line ever is always that Ronald Reagan line, "I'm here from the government," or "Yeah, I'm here to help." Like, dude, that's the worst thing. No, more government equals more problems every fucking time.
just, and then everybody's like, well, for people who are anti-government, you sure want a lot of laws? No, we don't want a lot of laws.
Actually, I want way less laws.
Yeah, I want them to stay away. Well, you don't want abortions. Yeah, I guarantee you, if they didn't talk about abortions,
well,
and nobody would have cared by now. But they keep bringing it up for re-election. That's all.
Well, here's the thing with like that deal too, is like it doesn't on my end, in my brain, is that it doesn't matter if you're pro-life or pro-choice. When it comes to the Constitution, if it's not in it, you have to go about ratifying something in the Constitution to make an amendment in order for it to be law.
Yeah.
That's why it should have happened the way it did, but people don't understand that you have more freedom in your state now. And if your state sucks, you have the freedom also to move, which I understand shit's hard that way, but that is the way that the Constitution works. And I am a constitutionalist.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally.
Yeah. Well, they talk about, if you don't like it that Trump lost, you can leave. Well, you didn't like it that Hillary lost and you didn't leave.
Right.
So it's like, come on, give me a break. Like I saw this woman, I think I mentioned it last week. She was ragging on how much she hates this country and she wishes she could move. And I was like on the live, and I was like, okay, then move. Well, no, I get Social Security. So the country's not so bad that you want to move because of if the country's so bad, just go. Why is your Social Security worth your happiness? If you're not happy here, go. No, I worked hard and I earned it. Oh, so you worked hard, you earned your money, and you want your money.
Yeah, it's kind of
like what we're saying.
It's kind of that duality that like it's so terrible here, but I can't leave because it's so good.
It's so terrible and racist here. All the Mexicans keep coming through the border.
Oh my God. Well, it's not even that. Well, now that you say that, it's not even, well, it's more than, it's all the illegal immigrants from everywhere that they've came in. The number just came out, and now in these past 18 months, it's 5 million. Oh, God damn. It's quite a bit.
Yeah. As we just keep giving money to other countries and we have no money and we just keep giving money away to people here.
And that Peter Ducey thing, whatever, he was like, well, they're just walking across the border. And she's like, no, that's not how it works. That's exactly how it works. It's exactly what's happening. You guys won't let a famous tennis player in because he's not vaxxed, but then you're just come on in.
Yeah, and it's like the question that he kept asking her. It's one of my favorite Peter Ducey clips about them repairing the border wall and finishing the wall, and she keeps correcting him like, we're not building a wall, and if it was for safety reasons, then why not build a bridge? Like, why does it need to be a wall? Apparently walls maybe do work.
Right.
They're just so this administration is just so hypocritical, and they like to change, and that's what it feels like the people on the left like to do. They just change it a little. Like, no, I didn't beat her. I just hit her in the face a few times because she wasn't listening.
Right.
So you beat her. No. How could you say that? I'm not a bad person. I just hit her in the face a few times. And that's what they do. They just change the words, and that's what she's doing. You're not, we're not finishing it. We're fixing it. Fixing the problems that the prior administration. What problems? You didn't let them finish it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's constant wordplay, and it's it's not just the government, it's becoming everyday people. There's in conversation that I just had someone, we were talking about trans kids in schools and all this stuff, and I said that's not really that that prevalent of a problem though, is it, that where the parents are because they were saying that this is happening and parents aren't noticing it, that kids are transitioning, and I said, well, they weren't really transitioning, were they, if it's not noticeable? And they were like, well, no, it doesn't need to involve surgery. I said, I didn't say it involved surgery. Like, I'm saying transitioning as in a noticeable change in your appearance to reflect a different gender. And they said, well, that's a pigeonholed, way to define it. It's not. It's the broadest way I could think of to define it. Like,
right.
Why are we stuck on this definition? You know what I'm trying to say.
Why are you forcing down a Republican talking point?
Right.
What?
Oh, yeah.
It's just a common sense argument. Hey, the kid wants to be trans, let him get to be an adult.
That's man, that's one of the main things that I always hear too. Anytime that you go against like the certain narrative, or if you don't agree with something, or even if you try to just say that it's a little bit more of like a common sense, or like even like with the kids, like how they have you go through phases in life. I would be a fucking pirate right now if I didn't get out of that phase. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was that age,
I'd be a garbage
so,
man right now. I'm a garbage
yeah.
person, but I'd be a garbage man right now.
Well, and that's what I kind of had I had a like one of my younger followers on that was on my band account, but he's in that aspect of all that, and he was saying that, well, they're trying to call a lot of them groomers. I'm like, well, the reason being is because they're talking to these kids about this stuff under puberty age. These kids, it's too complex and too much for you to be thinking about anything sexuality wise and anything like that until you get to a certain age. Then it's more understandable, but also phases. Just because you're thinking something or want something or want to be something doesn't always mean you should have it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, but and they say that there's no influence, yet all you see are these trans parents, and now all of a sudden their kids are automatically trans.
Yeah.
We have no, they did it on their own. Yes. This 3-year-old who's probably still shitting in his pants decided that he wanted no longer to have a penis because you two want one. Now, the 3-year-old doesn't need one.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
come on.
It's a weird environment. I remember when I was a kid and growing up, and even during young adulthood, the big movement was that we need more women interested in STEM activities. It's okay for girls to play with Legos, and that we should encourage that. Pink and blue are not gender-based colors, and that was the whole movement, that girls needed to be able to play with Legos. It was okay to do things that weren't normal for your gender and still just be comfortable in your gender. Now that's transitioned to, oh, you like Legos? Have you ever thought about surgery? Like, it's this bizarre change.
Listen, where you come from, women
It
throw
is.
each other through tables, all right? So
Yeah, we do.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were playing with Legos and dump trucks at age of 2 and 3, and throwing dump trucks at their brothers and everything like that. But yeah,
I've always wondered what those table sales look like at the local Walmarts during bill seasons. How much of an uptick in money they're making.
Oh man, they're like fucking 8-footers. We're getting fucking 50 of them this week, man.
they must have been crying during the last football season when football was canceled. They're like, we got all these tables though. What are we gonna do? Who's gonna eat off these things? You're not supposed to eat off this. You're supposed to throw people off this. Oh my god. Yeah, but it's a crazy world we live in. And to be honest, and I said it, if you these drag shows, my thing is, you want to take a kid to a drag show, I don't care. Do whatever you want. All right. But stop forcing people to accept it. Like,
Right.
If I don't want to do it, I don't have to do it. If I don't like it, I don't have to like it. I don't like when people get in people's faces about stupid crap like that, because there's no need for it. But the other side does it, and I hate it. I hate, it's okay for one, but not the other. But it's okay for the other, but not the one. It's like, guys, why don't we just leave each other alone? Just let them. Like, I there was a story about a kid named Adolf. The parents named him Adolf, middle name Hitler, and then whatever Jones or whatever, Adolf Hitler Jones, and CPS came and took the kid away, and it's like,
well, that's a bunch of horse shit.
Like, leave the parents alone. Like, if these parents want to take their kids to drag show, let them take it. If I want to take my kids to Hooters, I'm gonna take my kid to Hooters. So it's kind of. But when you have these kids dancing also, and tits and fake tits and all this stuff is out, it's like, that's a little bit different. All right, if you want to take them over.
That's the whole thing though too, is that I've even seen some of the drag community come out and speak out against it, because of the fact that drag shows in the community is a very hypersexualized community. And they are saying that, well, you might not want to be doing this because, for one, you are making us look bad by you bringing them here, and then we're showing stuff.
Right.
And they're here, so it's that's grooming.
Yeah. Dead. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
But
it's like I sometimes I'd like to articulate shit a little bit better, but no, it's grooming. It's exactly what it is. And I mean, I can understand also, yes, let people do what they want with their kids and everything else. I do agree with that. But whenever we start seeing stuff that is just morally wrong and is going to just mess a kid up, I can't help but speak out against it. But that's also in my nature of my past fucking year on TikTok, hunting pedophiles and stuff. So
I mean, they say it's not grooming and all that stuff. Okay, if it's not grooming, let Jerry Sandusky out of jail.
Yeah,
because that's not grooming. It's just like, no, it's grooming. You're teaching your kids that it's okay at a young age. Like, I don't want to bring my kid to a strip club. If I want to bring him to Hooters, like I said, yeah, okay. But if you want to bring him to a place where there's guys who dress like girls, but like you said, when it's sexual in nature,
right.
It starts to get a little iffy. But
right.
But if you're gonna, like I said, take a kid away from being named Adolf Hitler, you got to take the kid away that's being brought to a drag show or Pride where you got dingle dongles hanging out all day, and they're like, "Hey, what's that? Is that a chew toy?"
I'm always curious what makes people make those choices too. Like the kid named Adolf Hitler. Like two parents got together. Where did you find two parents that got together and decided that was a good idea? I can't find reunion.
One. No, I can't find one. You're like they're really realistically like, you think they forgot about him? Maybe.
Right.
All right, let's try it.
We're doing it to raise awareness.
Listen, there's some couples on TikTok that I'm like, good for you. Good for you. You found each other. Good for you. And it's like, but yeah, you listen, you find people. That's the one thing about TikTok, man, is it brings out all kinds of people. You see all different kinds of people, and you're just like, wow, I guess that does exist.
Oh, dude, yeah. That's the craziest thing. Like I talked to Scrappy a little while ago about some of it, but I know that I've already gotten 5 accounts banned now. I know DK has had a little bit of trouble every once in a while, but it's just we all know that it's ran by China and it's a commie aspect and everything else, but it's like, to me, that it's working communism into everyone's brain more and more because of also the infighting between people who want conservatism or whatever else, then they're going at each other. It seems to bring a lot of petty aspects because it's a lot of also the reporting of people. Same thing as, would you tell on your neighbor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also like you say the wrong thing. Like, everybody is supposed to have the same mindset because they're the same. They vote the same way. It's like, no, you have people who are conservatives that, could be pro-choice, and that's their prerogative. But as soon as you say that, you get gloms of people that are just, you're not a real conservative. And no, there's different kinds of conservatives. There's libertarians. There's constitutionalists. There's fiscal conservative. There's conservative. There's crazy conservative. There's liberal. There's crazy liberal. But the liberals, they do it to themselves too. That all of a sudden, I hate when someone's sitting there going, well, I thank you for yelling at me and showing me the right way. I needed to be yelled at because it was, I said the wrong thing. I called him a he. Oh, sorry, I did it again. I called they a he. My bad. And it's like, you're a 60-year-old woman getting yelled at by a 20-year-old kid who wants to be called a Zim. Do you not understand that your parents would probably hit you?
Right.
Your mom was like, I should have been pro-choice. I should have been pro-choice.
Oh man.
And it's just, with these things, it's just getting like out of hand. Like, I want to be called ch. Huh? Yeah, my pronouns are ch cha. They're what? Yeah, chicha. And if you don't
Yeah.
call me chicha, you're ist.
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, fuck all
Huh?
that. Doesn't make any damn sense.
No.
But
Well, here's the thing. Like I'm okay with whatever if you want to identify as a turtle, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm a libertarian. I don't care what you do as long as it's not harming me. And at the point that I have to participate in it in any way, shape, or form or face punishment, that's kind of where I have the issue with it.
right.
Yeah. Same here. I'm a grown ass man. Don't yell at me because I didn't call you the right thing. Your name's Sam. I'm gonna call you Sam. And then if we're having a conversation, I'm sorry, but if you want me to use a pronoun, I will use a pronoun. And if I forget or this whole society is they want you to just change on a dime automatically.
Well, that's the problem to me also, because I agree with what DK was saying that, yeah, I'm fine with you doing whatever, but whenever I have to face a penalty or some sort of persecution because I didn't get it right, that's where the problem lies. Because, like, say if I call you her or him because you are biologically that, and you get offended first off and then say no, it's like, you have to understand biology exists, and if we see it in a certain way and whatever, you can correct us, but don't get offended. I'm sorry, but the dude who said it's ma'am, you don't look like a ma'am. I'm sorry, but the dude,
you look like D. Snyder, okay, madam?
Yeah. Whether people want to get offended by that or not, that's on them. But it's like, you don't look like a ma'am, so don't get mad at the dude behind the counter when he said sir, because you're a sir.
Yeah, and now they want to charge you with a hate crime for it.
I know,
because you misgendered somebody, and it's just like, what? You want to throw me in jail because I called you something that you didn't identify? Like, no, that's not how this works. That's not how this whole thing works.
That's not how any of this works.
That's not how any of this works.
But a big aspect, though, too, that I kind of want to talk to DK about is the whole deal that I feel that's coming in more and more that a lot of us do, especially with the crashing of the economy and what's going to be happening. What's your main argument that I have some, but what's your main argument against socialism and the economics of it?
That essentially it just boils down to that I can't say no. And it's the easiest litmus test that I put everything through. And it's the first question that it was the first question that I asked the Marxist guy that I was talking to on that live that you had mentioned earlier. And anytime I'm talking to someone is, what happens if I decline? What can I say no? Can I opt out? And if I can't opt out, if I can't say no without facing penalties, it's authoritarian and I don't want it. Mm-hmm. And that's really, it's the simplest litmus test that you can run any legislation through is, I think it's the first question that should be asked on any legislation is, what happens if you say no? And if it's a punishment, then maybe we should reconsider.
Yep. See, I agree. That's usually my main first thing too, is like, what if I don't want to? And you just saying, what if I just say no, is basically the exact same thing. But also, whenever it comes down to it, like, I've had the aspects of trying to see where I can agree on certain things. And then when it gets to a certain point, I'm like, well, what about the human condition? For the fact that most of us want more. And if we're not allowed to have more, then we're looked at as selfish. It's not selfish to want more.
Right. Well, and I'm all for the human condition, and everybody should want to be better and have better. And I mean, I don't feel any differently. I want better too. And I'm a human too. I have my own condition as a human. And that's the basis for my entire, ideology is that, nobody can tell me what I need better than I can tell myself. And if I can't say no, socialism, when they, seize the means of production and it's, cooperative ownership of all of the means of production and life is grand. What if I want my own thing? What if I want my own property? And I tell you that you can't have what I have. What are you going to do? You're going to show up and forcibly take it.
Right. So, yeah, exactly. Then it becomes straight authoritarianism, and that is the worst.
I think these kids just think that socialism is you're going to get to stay home and play Fortnite all day, every day, and the government's just going to pay you to just sit at home. And they don't realize, sorry, Charlie, that's not the way it's going to be. You're going to have to work 40 to 60 hours, maybe 80 hours a week. And and you're gonna have to work, and then you're just gonna get the pittance that the people on the top will just. I saw a video today of in California. They're going through a drought right now, or Mississippi or something like that. That you're not allowed to use the water. Yeah, it was in Mississippi that they can't drink the water because of some of them don't have water, and some of them, and the water is toxic. But the governor or something like that of Mississippi has a water truck parked right outside of his house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. Like you don't people think that all these people are good and all oh no, everybody's gonna be great. Everybody's gonna have a sunshine and roses. And I'm sorry, kiddo. Some people are gonna have sunshine and roses. Other people are gonna have cactus and darkness.
Yeah, they're gonna have fucking bread lines. That's
And right now we can look at it and we can say that for him to have a water truck outside of his house is ridiculous, and it's elitism. But let them take more control over every aspect of your lives, and it's going to be completely necessary because they will be more important then. They will need the more resources if they're the ones running everything.
Yep.
Yeah. Like it angered me to see that there was, I guess, a socialist won in New York, one of the primaries. And she's like, yeah, we're going to make socialism or communism a great thing. And everybody's cheering. And I'm going, do you understand she's cheering for her pockets? You're cheering for her pockets. You understand that, right? Because she's going to be in the elite. And then when it comes down to it, when it's between her and you, guess who gets the bottom? Guess who gets the scraps that you guys were talking about? It's going to be you. And you're sitting there cheering for yourself as you're taking a train to Memphis. I can't say the other words.
Yeah.
to Schwitz. To Schlitz malt liquor. You're taking a train to Schlitz malt liquor, lady. It's like how and I don't get how people don't see that. Like I say it all the time. We're partially retarded. And retarded, if you look at the definition, is stilted in learning. Okay? So relax. Yeah, we're partially retarded, and we can tell the difference between what's going to happen and what could happen and what will happen. But they think it's going to be the greatest. When everybody else did it wrong. No, nobody has done it the right way. Yes, in all of humanity, everybody else has done it wrong. We're going to get it right.
Well, but that's the problem with the education system, is the fact that they're taught what to think and not how to think.
Yeah.
Because like all these motherfuckers that are teaching all this Marxism and socialism in colleges aren't teaching what happened during it or the effects of it. They're just teaching the aspects of it in the way that it could be good.
And did you see the video about the maps?
Oh God!
The teacher yelling at the kids. Oh, he's allowed to be attracted to a 5-year-old. No, fucking is not.
Oh man,
no, he's not.
See, and like I literally made a Facebook post saying that I'm not going to ever call them that. I am going to call them a straight pedophile, and they should be stigmatized. Then, not less than 10 minutes later, I saw that video and then found an article. I'm like, everybody just keeps thinking that everything's fucking fine. The same way that everybody just fucking thinks everything's just going to be fine in the long run with our government and everything else. Stop just thinking everything's going to be fine, for the love of God.
So DK, when are you moving out of New York?
Well, the don't judge people, and it's the don't judge people in every aspect of society are never going to be the ones that are, you're not going to send your 5-year-old to stay overnight with that map that you just defended, are you? Like, maybe some of the stigma is good.
Yeah. Exactly. Especially that, because that, man, that just
stereotypes
ruins.
Are born from somewhere.
Right.
Well, yeah. And stigmatization is good sometimes because it actually equals protection.
Yeah. But, no, it's just, you just see these people who are just so brainwashed into thinking that, well, if that's what it was supposed to be, that, that's how it's supposed to be. No, that's not how it's supposed to be. You put your child in that. You gave your child to this person who you knew was going to do something, and they did something. And that's where you become a bad parent.
Right.
Right. You know, she's standing there yelling at someone, and you're yelling at kids and everybody else that, you know, you can't stigmatize. We don't want to judge a map, and you have to call them that because, you know, if you don't call a pedophile a map, you know, you're judging them. You don't want to judge anybody. Let your child go spend the night over there then.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you're judging them.
Yeah.
But go ahead, make that decision, and then I'll hear your conversation.
Right.
Yeah. Well, just like all these people who want all these illegal immigrants to just stay in the country and come in. Okay, well then you got a couch. Let them stay with you.
Oh yeah.
See how that works out. Oh no, they can't. Why? You want them? You think it's a great thing? So you got a room. Let them stay with you, and eventually they'll have squatters' rights, and you got to get out.
In that same aspect, it's funny, like how we were talking about socialism earlier, like Bernie Sanders and all those people that believe in that have all this money. It's like, well, then why aren't you distributing it?
Right.
The millionaires and billionaires. Bernie, you're a millionaire. The billionaires can't have all this money. Bernie, why do you have 3 houses?
I think that's the fantasy with, you know, socialism overall with a lot of these kids now, is that, you know, they think it's only going to be Jeff Bezos's assets that get redistributed, that get seized and moved around. Like, that's not how that works. That's not how that works at all.
Yeah.
And I say it all the time. The same people who are crying that are the same people who have OnlyFans and won't give it out for free.
Yep.
Right. And also how we were talking about McDonald's and whatever being so expensive. How do you think it's going to fucking be under $15 an hour minimum wage if everybody does that? That company is not going to eat that fucking net raise. It's not going to. It's going to raise their prices, and it's also going to have probably less employees because they can't fucking afford to pay that many employees.
Well, look at it now.
It fucks like every end of everything.
Look at it now. They got those kiosks now where you can just order something on the kiosk and you don't even have to talk to a person anymore. And I don't know if you've seen it, but now they're starting to do the robots that can make the food. So what are you going to do then? Demand $30, $40, $70 an hour as minimum wage? And then all of a sudden you become Ecuador or wherever that, you know, just throwing money on the floor because it means nothing. You know, but people don't see that, and it's enraging. It's enraging. It's like, just think about it for 2 seconds. Oh no, the companies, you know, they should pay more. Okay. Then the pizza's a slice of pizza. Remember when a slice of pizza was a dollar? Remember when a pie was $10? I remember when pie was $10, and I got my first pie. I stole $10 from my parents. And I ordered my first pie by myself, and I thought I was going to be Kevin from Home Alone 2, and just eat the whole pie by myself. I was wrong. I ate half the pie, but it was $10, and like we were like, "Oh, $10, ooh, oh." And now, what's the pie, like $20-something for just one?
Right.
Even Domino's. I think we ordered Domino's the other day or something like that. It was like $30 for 2 pies. I was like, what?
Yep. Good old inflation.
Yeah.
I don't even know what is I wonder what the rate is now, because I know it was 9.1 here before, but I don't know what it is now.
No, because they stopped talking about it.
It doesn't exist. Yeah, it's zero.
Yeah. No, the gas price is coming down thanks to Joe Biden. Yay! Yeah. Gas is coming down thanks to Joe. Wait a minute, I thought it wasn't Joe's fault that the gas was going up. No, shut up. Say something. Yeah. No, it's only good.
Wait, he did the impossible. Never before has a president affected gas prices until now, when he affected them for the good.
Exactly. Yep.
Just in time for midterms.
Yep.
Just all this good stuff just coming out just before midterms. Just a coincidence, huh, folks?
Dude, midterms is going to be interesting. Like, I'm not even a Republican, but I want the Republicans to win. At least for this midterm shit, like, just to get more, like, the House and the Senate, something's got to get handled, because I'm sorry, if the Democrats stay in power, our gas is going to be way worse this coming up winter and shit. Stuff's going to get way worse. And I'm not even saying it's not going to still get bad, even if a lot of Republicans get in there, but at least they can start stopping things somewhat, I guess. But dude, they want to get rid of the filibuster. They want to get rid of all sorts of shit so they can really just have democracy.
Yeah. And we're really heading down this bizarre, almost scary path now. Like, if you guys have seen, I'm sure, like, the Dark Brandon things now.
Mm-hmm.
like the videos that they're making these edits and, you know, memes, and they're bordering on like North Korean state propaganda at this point with, you know, the laser eyes and not in Brandon's America. Like, what are you doing? These are the most authoritarian memes I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, absolutely. And he's sitting on a chair, throne of guns and shit, but
Yeah.
yet they want to get rid of guns. Like,
He's got like zombies walking down mountains in front of him. Like, what are you glorifying? Like, I know it's the
yeah,
internet, but like, it's like bordering on like North Korean state propaganda.
right. And yeah. And like when I started seeing those, I'm like, that just paints him as a straight dictator. Like,
Yeah.
absolute dictator style. Like, I guess you guys just want that. What the fuck?
That's what democracy is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, they use all these stupid buzzwords and all these terms, and because I was listening to his garbage piece, mouthpiece, whatever, Jen Psaki Jr., and she was just going off on like, you know, we have to fight for our rights, and all our rights are being taken away, and look at what they did with Roe versus Wade, and look at what, you know, we have to fight for democracy, and I'm like, constitutional republic, yes, no, no rights have been taken. What rights have been taken away? And then they'll come with well, you know, they took the rights of the women away to choose. No, they didn't. They just said it wasn't the federal government's choice to do what they want to do. And yeah, the Republicans are pushing to ban it all over. But once again, I need 60%, and that's why the filibuster is good, because it actually gives the majority of people the option. If the majority, if you don't have the majority, it shouldn't go in. I think you should get you need 60% to vote everything in. It should be 60% for everything, because then it's bipartisan.
I think it should be 90%.
Well,
yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I think
you're right.
I wouldn't argue with that.
I want it to be impossible to pass a new law.
I want to. Yeah, exactly. And I think it should be fucking, you know, 10% to say no if we want to get rid of a law, because goddamn it, I'm so tired of so many laws. But that was an argument though too, that this kid, that it was so weird. He had the whole igloo thing in his fucking picture and whatever not. So he's the like how I have on here, bug dude, whatever else. And he's like, oh no, we are a democracy. And I'm like, do you not know what checks and balances are?
Right.
We have democratic aspects, yes, for the fact that we have to vote and shit, but that's the whole point of checks and balances, you know, filibusters and yeah, for one, our three branches of government that should keep each other in check aren't doing it anymore. I'll agree to that, but we are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic with democratic aspects, because if we weren't, then it would be authoritarian.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
a republic is a rule of law. I mean, that's the basics of it, but yeah.
Well, my favorite reaction from a government official, you know, that I think I've ever seen in my life is when the Supreme Court overturned the gun restrictions and Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, lost her absolute fucking mind and was talking about how they can't take our right in this state. Like, the right to what? The right to take rights? Like, that's what you're going to quantify as a right now?
Right.
Well, I mean, this is coming from the same people who say healthcare is a right, but guns aren't.
Right.
Yeah, guns are in the Constitution and healthcare isn't.
Yeah.
You got it backwards there, Sally. And
Right.
she's just garbage. She's from right by you there, pal.
Yeah,
with her family, with that money, with that new stadium. Like, well, you know, I think, you know, we'll fund it a little bit, but the state of New York, I think if you guys want a new stadium, you're going to have to fit the bill for 80% of it. And you get 100% of the profits. Yeah, that's how, yeah.
Yeah, she conveniently moved money to fund that stadium and then complained that the department that she took the money from was now underfunded, so she needs to increase taxes to get that money. It's this shell game that they play, and it all results in you got to pay more.
Yep.
Yes.
Every time.
Yes. Yeah. And once again, just
And you'll never guess You'll never guess the department that she took the money from, and it was the children's services. Because of course.
Geez. Yeah.
Well, that's
of
because
course.
that's what brings in the most money. The school taxes are just atrocious. Like my kid has got, this is his last year. He's a senior in high school, and then that's it. And then I don't have any more kids in school at the moment, and I'm still gonna have to pay school taxes. My kids don't go to school around here. What? Why? Why should I have to pay school taxes? Like Scott was saying, you should be able to, on your tax form, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want, and they should tell you exactly where it's going. There should be no top cost, no executive cost, no nothing. Your taxes are going here, here, and here, And I just, once again, I don't understand with tolls and all this stuff, and the government just making $800 million off the lottery, but yet they don't have any money.
And the lottery was supposed to go to the schools too. Like when they first established the lottery, that was supposed to fund the schools. And
guess what? And that's where they took the money from.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle. I eat because I'm unhappy, and I'm unhappy because I eat.
Right.
My neck looks like a vagina. I love that movie. But it's just so it's ominous how they get away with this. It's so like it's creepy, man. And they say people who voted for Trump are in a cult, and then you look at it and go, this lady just said she was going to raise your taxes because she took your money.
Right. Well,
you're okay with that.
It's not even the people who voted for Trump they say that, but the aspect that I look at it is, I mean, I'm sorry, even if somebody's listening to this is in that aspect, but it's the people that are like, Trump is the best ever. Trump's my dad, blah. It's like, he's a fucking New York businessman that was president. He is an asshole. I liked him because he was an asshole. Was he the best? No, because he also banned bump stocks, and he also
hired Fauci. He also hired Ray. He also hired.
He didn't criticize. He didn't criticize the people enough that he should have been criticizing, and he also didn't drain any of the fucking swamp when he kept saying he wanted to, and people keep saying, "Oh, he didn't have enough time. What about his second term?" I don't give a fuck about his second term. How fast did fucking douchebag fuck up our entire economy and everything else? You gonna tell me that Trump couldn't have done some of that within his fucking time in office?
Well, once again, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Ultimately, it's, you got to look at the results of Trump's, presidency too. And if you think things are way worse now under Biden, it's a direct reaction of the government to Trump. So, I mean, anything that he did during those 4 years, if it's worse now, then it really doesn't matter what he did. Right. He just made it worse.
Yeah. I don't know. It's all, like you said, it's a shell game. It's all a shell game, and it doesn't matter who we vote for, because Trump was trying to be liked. That was another thing. He was trying to be liked and I guess he was trying to be middle, because nobody liked him. No, everybody forgets the Republican Party didn't want him. The Democrat Party had him, and they hated him, and they turned on him. And so you had 75% of the government not like him. And he did a bunch of good stuff, but, he did a bunch of shitty stuff on their recommendations. Like, they probably shoved Christopher Wray, like, hey, put this guy in, he's really good. And then Christopher Wray just went, yeah, I'm really good. Now go fuck yourself, And that's a lot of the people in his cabinet. They didn't like him. So they were just going to fuck with him as much as they could. How all these stories get out that he was all monstrous and this, and he was, he raped all these women, and then all of a sudden now the women are gone.
Yeah, it's like shit like that. Just fucking bunch of lies and stupid shit. Yeah. Just try to smear the man. I mean, every time they came out with a book,
a new book. Yeah. Somebody came out with a new book. Trump is an asshole. Buy it. The #1 bestseller on the New York. It's like that's all they did. They were just trying to sell books to people. And
like
people
for me personally, the thing that I liked about Trump was whenever he did the human trafficking deal, that Project Talent or whatever it was, and B, his foreign policy was good. We kept people in check. We
didn't have a war.
That's some of the best things, in my opinion.
Yeah. We didn't have a war in 4 years. Even with them lying to him, how many people they were pulling out. Yeah. There's only 5,000 troops. We pulled out of Afghanistan. We left 5,000 there. I thought you only said there was 5,000.
Anybody who runs in the Republican area, like I wish a stronger libertarian would run. I wish Rand Paul would run. Something like that, and just say fuck the Republican Party. But anybody that runs and doesn't run on saying that I'm going to shrink this government and start getting rid of these 3-letter agencies, I'm not even going to give credence to.
Right, which unfortunately none of them will. They'll run on it. I'm sure they'll run on it, but none of them will actually do it, and they'll just continue to play the shell game. And it's, well, we need to abolish the FBI and create this new agency in its place, because this will be much better when we do it this way. And it's what they did with the Department of Homeland Security after 9/11. And they'll just create a new agency to take the old one's place, and this one will be so much better, and then it'll be out of control within 5 years.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and that'll be the main thing. Like, even if they start saying that they that's why I wish so many people would be so much louder about it. Like, if they are running audit and they end up doing it and they say they want to replace it, be like, no, we don't want a fucking replacement. Like, what's the point? If anything, abolish them all to make one that is like a national security type thing, but that we have more oversight on, to where it just doesn't get run rampant. And also where they can't pass a fucking Patriot Act. They can't act like the NSA and fucking spy on everybody. Give us back our goddamn privacy and stay the fuck out of our lives.
No, right. They'll never do that, though. They will not. Look what they did to Bernie. They made him sign in blood that he was going to be a Democrat. He couldn't run as an independent. He had a sign that he would be run as a Democrat, and they'll never let it happen. They will never let an independent in. I mean, I was listening to some today, and they said the closest one was Ross Perot, I guess, or Rand Paul, were the two closest to ever come. And because Ross Perot bought out CBS for an hour to explain to everybody why the Fed was so bad, they changed the rules and said you're no longer allowed to do that, and everybody has to have equal time.
Yeah.
So when they don't get their way, they change the goalposts.
Yep. Yeah, that's the whole Ron Paul campaign from 2008 and 2012. They changed all the rules and the participation rules and the debates, and that's all they do. That's all they ever do.
Yep.
Like the election we just had. And somebody made a great point. It was, everybody talks about that. Well, it doesn't make sense how there's 150,000 registered voters, yet there was 150 million registered voters, but there was 180 something million people that voted. And somebody went, well, just because they're not registered doesn't mean they didn't get a ballot. And I was like, this is true. They were just giving ballots out to everybody.
Oh yeah,
they're just giving multiple. If you registered or not, you got a ballot. So if you were just home and just like, I don't like Trump, Joe Biden.
Well, even if they were dead, they were still getting ballots because voter rolls weren't cleared in some areas.
Yeah,
I think Florida was like one of the only states that actually had their shit right.
Yeah, and people would just get it and just sign whoever.
Right.
Isn't it weird that in an age where we're talking about things like digital currency and we're moving everything we're talking about metaverses, that we're still voting on paper mail-in ballots?
Right. Why aren't we using well, I mean, to be honest, I even said it before.
You know why? I'll tell you why. Hold on. That's why.
Well,
that wasn't as loud as I thought it was going to be.
No, it was not.
That was a quiet one.
The whole main thing, which I mean, there's still, it's extremely hard to hack into, but like he was getting into with the digital deal, is blockchain. You really can't get into it. You can't mute it. It has to operate in a certain aspect. So if we did blockchain voting, there's no way to really falsify. That's the whole reason why NFTs are now on blockchains, because you can't fucking make that fake. I mean, there's ways around it, but obviously they won't do it because, well, it's fucking secure.
Right.
Really quick. I'm sorry. I just want to thank everybody in the comment section, because we never thanked them for joining in the comment section. But yeah, I want to thank everybody. Stephanie, Stacy, The Gravy Show, Business Party Podcast. Thank you for participating.
Yeah, we're still here.
Our Brace. MF Doom. Listen, I like when I'm in a live and they go, "Hey, King Davey, how are you?" I'm just like, they said my name. But yeah, Blizz, welcome. Jennifer, hi. How are you? Just want to acknowledge everybody that was in the chat, who's always chatting. And sometimes we don't get to acknowledge some of the things you say. But yes, we do see them. And thank you for contributing to the show. Now, DK, you were saying?
It's the one area that, nobody's really making a real world push to technologically update. We have all of the technology in place. Why are we still voting on mail-in paper ballots? Why is that the new wave answer?
I do believe
Island, that movie that people were voting. They were using the voting online, and they would
I don't even know.
change. I forget what movie it was, but that's what I think of every time I think about the voting on your phone or whatnot. Is like they could just change it. They don't have to like American Idol.
But
you can vote for this guy and this guy wins, but the producers go, "Nah, we don't want this guy. We want that guy." And then they'll go, "No, he got more votes and whatnot." And that's I think there's no real
that's part of
way.
but that's part of the blockchain deal. Like even if you do that through your phone and it goes to a blockchain, then it doesn't matter. They can't change it. That's part of the immutability of it, because once it's on there, you unless you have a quantum computer to hack the blockchain system, you can't. That's basically
blockchain. And I do triangle rope.
Well, I do believe it was right before the 2020 election. The Postal Service, I think that they put in for a patent for blockchain voting. So they already kind of have it. It was there, but obviously they don't want to use it for reasons. If you will.
Wouldn't know anything about that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't, that's another thing that I say, when people want to go towards the communism and socialism and paying for everything, it's like, how many phone calls people get at the post office about where their package is? Now, can you imagine that with healthcare and where's my lung? Well, your lung said it was supposed to be there Tuesday. It's not going to get there till next Tuesday now. I'm going to be dead by next Tuesday. I'm sorry, sir. We can't do anything about it. Your lung is on back order. Wow.
Well, that's die. Dude, that's the thing with, universal healthcare and government as a service, I'm completely fine with. If you want to say that, for our tax money, we should get something back in return, I can't disagree with that. I absolutely agree. Either give me my tax money back or give me a service that I'm paying for. So government as a service is an interesting concept, but I want that service to be competing with private sector solutions at the same time. And if that government service is not as effective, then we don't really need that as a service in the government, do we? But that's never possible with people that push socialism and any of these other ideologies. They don't want the competition. So, of course, everybody has to participate in the government solution. There can be no competition. Why? What are you afraid of? Better outcomes?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Like the solution has to come from the government. It can't come from anywhere else because evil corporation.
Well, in the better outcome, they'll get mad about if somebody has the better outcome than other ones, and it's then they're rich but you see what I'm saying with that. But no, exactly, yeah. Why are you afraid of a better outcome? Like just because you want everybody to basically be equally shitty in ways,
right?
And then the more overreach just keeps creating that.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, we could have all the solutions in the world and everybody would just look at us like three tards. Right.
Well, yeah, but that's a good part about like having these talks and getting it out there and getting it on the airwaves. Cause that's what I love about Drinking Bros podcast is because Dan Holloway, he talks about a lot of this shit too. Cause he's more of a constitutionalist and how we should be going back to smaller government and making it known more in people's ears. Like the more that we preach about it, maybe the more some people might wake up to it. I mean, yeah, it's going to be few and far between, but it's worth it.
I like how people think though, like the Constitution, that people go, well, maybe we should get rid of the Constitution. I go, do you understand if we got rid of the Constitution, you wouldn't be able to say that?
Yeah.
Like, do you understand Brittany Griner is in jail because Russia doesn't have the Constitution we have? And they're like, well, you're a black woman with weed. We're gonna put you in jail for a longer time than the white woman with weed. So that's what we're gonna do, and you have no recourse about it.
Like, I've been waiting for. I just want them to be honest. Like most of the leftists or liberals, I just want them to be like, we just don't want the Constitution anymore. Like that, they just none of them will be honest. But we already know that that's basically how they think.
They want to change the Constitution to the way they want it. They don't want to. They don't want to settle. They don't want to go, hey, okay, we'll change this or we want to change that. No, they just want it to be whatever they want. Like, you know, all they want everybody. I like how everybody's just like, we should return the land to the native people that we took it from. Oh, okay, well then go back to a country where your ancestors are from. Then, well, no, I'm American. I belong here. You just said that you want everybody who's not the original people to go back to where they came from. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they say these things and they want all this stuff, and then the repercussions of everything that they want backfires on them, and then they're just sitting there like, but this is not what we wanted. That's exactly what you wanted. This is what you were talking about.
Right.
I don't know. People are just you know what's wrong with people? People.
Right. Well, and it's the crabs in a bucket thing. Like everybody's focused on dragging the opposite side down. No one's focused on actual solutions. The FBI raid with Trump, and now conservatives are like, we need to defund the FBI, and the left is like, well, we need to give more funding to this. This isn't a problem, and you just have a problem with it because, you know. And the FBI was used to persecute you for decades before. Did you forget? But now, because it's the other side, you want it more. You want more of it now. Like that pendulum will swing again. And it'll swing back, and the other side's gonna. There's already conservatives that I see talking about it that will wait till we get back in. Like, how dangerous is this going to get before people start to realize that maybe we should just take these things away? This power doesn't need to exist in the capacity that it does.
Exactly. Yeah. That I completely agree with that, because I hate whenever I see the argument, well, it's just some bad apples in there, whatever else. Like, no, I can see that somewhat in you know, police forces in certain areas, but there should be no federal police, period, at all. I'm sorry, but I don't think that there should be at all whatsoever. Now,
right.
I've also been screaming since the day that I fucking even started understanding Constitution and government, that there should be no 3-letter agencies, period, because they don't fucking serve us in the ways that they say they should, especially the CIA. You know how they started the crack epidemic. But, you know, I digress.
Every one of these 3-letter agencies, their sole purpose for existence is to restrict your rights further. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason they exist. They're not protecting you. They're not doing anything above and beyond. They exist to restrict your rights further.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look at all the ATF agents that are going to people's houses, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, did you buy this? None of your business. No, listen, you got to tell us if you bought it. No, I don't. I don't tell you shit. Yes, you do. If not, we'll be back. Don't you worry. Are you fucking threatening me? What are you? Are you threatening me? I need TV for my butthole.
They already know. They already know the answer. Yeah. The background check that you went through to purchase that weapon, a copy of that went to the ATF. It all goes through the government. They already know the answer.
Right.
And that's the reason they're showing up at your door.
Right. And that's actually already illegal, because once that background check goes through and you pass, it's supposed to be thrown away. There's no it's illegal for the ATF to have a fucking list of anything that we have.
Right.
They're there whenever shit gets reported in a bad situation, which is the whole fucking reason why they were formed in the first place, not to keep a fucking record of what we have, because they're not supposed to.
Yet they're going after the people like that who bought, you know, lowers and stuff like that. Yet somehow every time there's a mass shooting or something, it just so happens that the FBI was looking at these people and just, you know, these people, they were looking at them, but they didn't do anything about it. Yet John Schman buys a lower for an AR-15, and all of a sudden they're like, hey.
Do you mean a ghost gun?
Lower? Yeah.
The proper term is a ghost gun now.
You got a ghost gun in there?
New York City's actually got a problem now with ghost cars. That's the new issue in New York City.
Really?
Yeah, where people are using fake license plates to get around registrations, and there's ghost cars now.
Oh
Well, I mean,
shit!
they've been doing that for years.
It's like this weird Scooby-Doo villain that we're all chasing.
Oh shit!
Listen, once again, if you make something illegal, people are just gonna find ways to do it illegally. You know,
Yep.
There's 100. What did they say? There's 300 million guns that are registered, and how many are not registered?
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on. It's just there. It's all talking points. It's all talking points. It's all just to make you feel good, like there's something gonna be done and nothing's gonna happen. I mean, what did they say?
Right.
Obama was the biggest gun seller as president. More guns were bought under Obama than any other president because he kept on saying, "Well, I think we're gonna ban it. We're just gonna ban these assault weapons." And then people went, "Oh, okay, sold out."
It's all talking points that end with "we need more money and authority."
Yeah.
And then the problems seem to get worse. And it's maybe it's time to rethink that solution.
Yep. I definitely agree.
But there's too much money. Like Jersey. I remember Jersey was talking about upping the permits to like a gun permit in Jersey was $2, and they were talking about jumping it to $50. And your original registration for a firearms ID card was, I believe it was like $50 or $60, and that's after the $67 background check that the state police has to do that takes weeks to pass. And then they were going to raise that to $500.
God damn. Fuck that.
Yeah. They were going to raise it to $500. And it's like, ladies and gentlemen, you were saying defund the police because you didn't want them to have guns. And now you're telling me the only people that can have guns are the police you want to defund?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you not hear? Do you not register? Does that not register in your head?
Well, that's the most interesting part about the gun debate and whether or not, banning guns is really effective is whenever one of these, nut jobs does these mass shootings and someone says, well, we need to prepare ourselves better and take additional steps, concealed carry can be an effective tool to maybe prevent some of these situations from occurring. Everybody's, well, no, we need to ban them. That's the answer, is we need to ban them. Well, whenever the argument shifts to the criminals have better guns than the police, what do the police do? The police get better guns. They don't turn around and say, well, we need to just tell them they can't have them.
Or the police turn around and do nothing.
Right.
Like in Texas, where they stood around and just
they still get the better equipment. They just look cooler while they're standing there doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Of all the tactical LARPers, the police are the worst ones.
Yeah. Look at all these cool things. Look at this thing. We could just burst down the school with this new tactical tank. You didn't. Yeah, but we could.
We could have.
But we could have. It could have looked real cool.
Right.
But you didn't. Hey, a bunch of kids are protesting. Let's use it now.
Right.
Guys, come on. Like that enraged me when I saw that video of the Texas school shooting and the cops were just standing around doing nothing.
I was pissed for a while about that.
It's like, what's going? And the one guy's wife was in there. Like, I don't care.
That was the most appalling part.
Yeah.
I would have been that mother that ran in. I would have been that mother, like, stop me. Go ahead, kill me. Kill me.
The absolute most appalling part of that video, there were two parts. Number one is the little note that was on a lot of the videos that said, like, the audio has been edited to remove the sounds of children screaming. Like, that part was appalling.
Oh, yeah,
and
that got me.
the part where that guy's walking up toward the classroom, that his wife is in the classroom, and the one cop just casually puts his arm out in front of him and like halts him, stops him. He's like, whoa, buddy, like, calm down. And he's like, well, she said she's in there. Like, what? If that's the level of effort that you're willing to exude to save your wife, don't tell me that you're there to protect me.
Well, then again, you never know what happened the morning of. They might have got into an argument. He might have been cheating, got another girl pregnant, and they're like, yeah, you made me not want to go in there. And he's like,
You're right.
Listen, I heard someone said that, you know, for as much as 9/11 was a tragedy, somebody was like, yes.
Somebody dodged a bullet.
Yeah, someone's what was it? Jesus, I just had a brain fart. I told you. Somebody's girlfriend was in there that shouldn't have had a girlfriend. It was pregnant, about to tell him, and he avoided that bullet. And he was
Can you imagine the guy that woke up late that day for work and, you know, he was disgruntled and he's like, I wish this office would just fucking blow up. I'm tired of going into work.
Yeah.
Then he thinks to himself,
yeah.
Fuck.
He's just sitting on the BQE like, shit. Did I do that?
You know, there had to be someone.
Yeah,
right.
And they're not going to publicly tell that story now, but
no.
Yeah, like, you know, there's traffic and you're like, I hope someone's dead. And as you're driving by, you're like, oh Lord, pray for their soul. I'm, you know, shouldn't have said that out loud.
Right.
Fuck. But yeah,
I put that energy out there. Oh fuck, man.
Yeah, like, you're the cops. You're supposed to go in there, guns blazing. You got the stuff head to toe. Head to toe, you know, the kids screaming and crying and getting shot, and you're just sitting. I'm getting angry. Oh, fuck, I just got angry. I just got real angry.
Well,
all those Punisher logos, no punishing.
No punishing after all those Punisher logos. Well, and like that's also, but then they'll use excessive force on one dude who kind of pushed over a cop, didn't have any weapons on him, and they were beating his fucking face on the ground not too long ago. It's like.
You'll stand outside of a school, you'll stand outside of a classroom while people are being slaughtered, but you know, because that might have been a little too dangerous for you, but you have no problem, you know, having 3 people on top of someone, one of them kneeing him in the spine while the other one punches him in the head repeatedly. Like, that's okay.
Yep.
Even for, what was it, Eric Gardner, the guy in New York that
Eric Garner.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, he's a big dude and whatnot, but you know, it's partially the fact that he was fat and he had like a heart condition, you know, and he didn't do what they told. But I mean, did you really need all those cops on him like a fucking like a trampoline?
Well, yeah, he was selling untaxed cigarettes.
Yeah.
Do you understand how dangerous that is?
I know.
I mean, the government's not getting the cut.
That's all it is. That's why they hate.
Do you understand how damaging that is to society? We got to stop that.
Yeah, but you know what? You make an absolute perfect point. The government wasn't getting their part, so they sent everybody in there. The guy's got to be taken out. Listen, Nancy Pelosi just made $12 million, and her husband just drunk drove. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's okay. You're good. You're good.
Well, what's that saying? The fucking no difference between a street gang and a government besides length of establishment and size. It's like, I mean, it's pretty well fucking accurate.
They said Vegas used to run better when the mafia was running it.
Oh, I
bet.
Now
that the government runs it, Vegas sucks.
Oh yeah.
People would rather have their eye popped out by fucking Charlie M than fucking.
Like with Vegas and the mafia run it, if it's like just a mafia, they're just going to take what their cut is and they're probably not going to really fucking increase it unless they keep increasing, which I mean is the exact same thing as a government. But usually mafias don't. They just kind of fucking stick with their family. That's the difference between a government where the government will keep continuing to increase in size and keep taking.
Yeah. With the mafia, it's like, listen, you owe me 18 grand. You don't get the 18 grand. I'm sorry. Sell your kid. You owe me the 18 grand. You make more than 18 grand. Good. Keep whatever's left.
See, but at least with the mafia though, too, they're pretty rough and they'll do what they want. But you can also kind of take out a mafia a little bit easier depending on what you have. With government, they've established all this fucking other bullshit, and now they're trying to be like, Biden's like, oh, you need F-17, F-18s and all this other shit. Like,
but isn't it a part of the Geneva Convention? You're not allowed to shoot on your own people.
Yeah, it is, and that's why we're all like, bro, are you threatening us?
Yeah, like you're not allowed to use the military on your own people. Like, so how is it that you're going to get
Well,
the government to do all this stuff when they're not supposed to. I mean,
the other aspect of it too, though, is that the people who really give a shit about what we have as far as rights and what we want to protect, it's not about winning. That's what he doesn't understand, what others don't understand, to try to be like, are you really going to try to take on the government with your AR-15, blah, blah, whatever else? I'm going to take on whoever I can with however I can, and I'm going to die a free man trying to protect my rights. It's not about winning. It's about preserving.
yeah.
Simple as that.
If we take out a couple of people, then,
Yeah.
But there's so many ex-soldiers now, and it kind of disheartens me when you see like soldiers who are just like, yeah, no, that is a military AR-15 is a military style gun. It's like, dude, you shot the M16. You shot an M16, and you're really saying the AR is the exact same thing?
Like, no, bro.
Which, to be honest with you, a fully automatic should be legal because you can't hit shit with a fully automatic.
Well, you didn't.
Anybody in the military will be the first to tell you that mil-spec means garbage.
Yes.
It's not, military style or military grade, all these terms that they use to make things sound scarier. Anybody directly involved in the military will tell you it actually means that it's a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it is the lowest bidder.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anything with government is the lowest bidder.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. It's like, how much can we? Okay. Those F-17s, yeah, they're gonna cost about $30 billion, right? Yeah. All right. How much is gonna cost to really, who's gonna do it for $2 billion? 17 of them, $2 billion? Okay, we're good. Where's the 28 other bill gonna go? I got a big pocket that I might need to fill.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I got a little bit of room.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what people don't understand. The government does everything on the cheap, yet they'll tell you it's expensive. There's a $13 million hammer in the White House. Why?
But yet we give how much money to our fucking military industrial complex, which I know that the military itself is unconstitutional, but I would never get rid of it because, Russia and other places, we have to have some sort of a force against them, but it's not like we don't have the largest standing military among citizens. But still, we give entirely too much to the military industrial complex, especially whenever mil-spec itself means fucking garbage.
Right.
Well, I mean, it doesn't help either that, former presidents, chief of staffs and all these people, all of a sudden, they go and work for Boeing and all these military corporations right after they're done working for the government. And they get these military jobs, and now all of a sudden, now they got their buddies like, hey, we really could use you guys with this and that and this and that, and they're all friends, and they go, oh yeah, okay, we'll use you guys, yeah, okay, so it's gonna cost this much, and then, like I said, oh, I got all this room in my pocket.
Yeah,
it's all inside. It's an elite group that most of us, 99% of us, will never be a part of.
It's that George Carlin fucking, it's one big club and we ain't part of it.
Nope. Exactly.
But that's why I like all these talks, like having like this and hearing other podcasts and more people waking up to the fact of how corrupt everything is, because eventually it just needs to be, again, we the people.
You got Joe Rogan saying the only way to fix this is to vote Republican.
Oh, I know. And what the fuck? Goddamn, I forgot what it is on Twitter. They're calling to start boycotting Spotify until they drop Joe Rogan. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, I just seen this as I'm listening to Spotify. I was like, boycotting, and I put the fucking gif of these nuts.
Yeah, it's like you want to cancel Joe Rogan on one end, and then when he says something good, then you don't want to cancel him, and the other party wants to cancel him, and then it's just that, like I said, everybody wants what they want. Nobody wants to compromise. Yep. And then on TikTok, you got conservatives fighting conservatives, Democrats fighting Democrats, and it's like, guys, we all want the same fucking thing in the end, right? We're all fighting for the same thing. We're coming at it in different ways. We're all don't want the government to bother us. You don't want them to bother you about one thing. I don't want them to bother me about the other thing.
Well, that's I actually tweeted about it the other day. It was really bothering me because the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire sent out a tweet, and the Libertarians on Twitter were fighting with each other nonstop all night long. And I tweeted and said that the biggest problem is that we've lost sight of the actual goal. The actual goal is not, when we talk about liberty, liberty doesn't have a single uniform meaning across the board that we have to force onto everybody. And, it's not about enacting our vision. The goal needs to be that we're okay with being peacefully divided, that, having different opinions, having different lifestyles, having different things, as long as it doesn't affect you, who cares? The goal is not to be united under one ideology. It's to be united in the fact that we are okay with being peacefully divided. And the one thing that unifies us is that we will defend our right to be peacefully divided.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember?
That's actually a really good fucking point.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but my opinion trumps your opinion, and I'm right and you're wrong. I mean, these last couple of years since when Trump got in, it just a spike, just a spike and everybody just went to their corner. It was it was dividing families. It was dividing families. You have people who don't talk to family members. Yeah, I still don't talk to a certain family because no matter what you say, Trump's the bad guy. Now it's not even Trump anymore. It's the ultra MAGA. Anybody who voted for Trump is now an ultra MAGA. And then they go, well, some people, I didn't vote for Joe Biden. I voted against Trump. That sounds like a great idea. Let's not vote for somebody you just dislike. Let's vote for this guy who's just going to tank everything. That sounds like a perfect idea, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been encouraged on every level, during the whole BLM thing, during the whole COVID thing. For 2 years with COVID, the government itself was encouraging you to lean on family members, put pressure on family members. Like, we're at the point where we're encouraging the government to divide families. That's the path we're going to go down as a society.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is the beginning of communism.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at the kid that turned his father in. That was in from January 6th. Oh, my dad, he shouldn't have made that choice to go into. It's your father. You don't do that.
Right.
You don't do that. I'm not a big fan of my father right now, and I still wouldn't do that. He probably turned me in, but but it's just like you don't turn in family. I mean, if the mafia taught you anything, it's you don't rat on family. No matter what,
right?
It's just, but everybody's just, and nobody, and it feels like everybody just wants to win. Everybody wants the W. Like, oh, see, I proved you wrong. Oh, I see, I proved you wrong. My father-in-law said it. We are the generation of, I have to prove you wrong. And he's right, because I almost had to prove him wrong that he was wrong about that. I was seriously, he's like, yeah, your generation, because he's got a real Sam Elliott voice. And my wife makes fun of me because I try to, every time he talks and I talk, I got to go lower. And I'll be like, yeah, you're right, Pops. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But he was in the car and he had me enraged because he's sitting there like, you people always have to be right. You got to be right. And I'm like, no, we don't. Yes, you do. No, we don't. We don't always have to be right. Well, look at what happened with this. We weren't right there. He goes, did you just prove my point? And I go, fuck. I did. But yeah, everybody just has to be right now, and nobody can go, hey.
Well, I mean, I can see some of that, but I also think that the other issue is that a lot of people cannot admit to being wrong.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that's a big issue with a lot of things, especially government, and especially with the overreach that has happened. And the stigmatization of the people that didn't get the fucking vax or that didn't wear a mask and other shit like that. They're still like when the CDC shit came out that now everyone is the same. People have been saying that for over 2 years. The people that had to do all that should be like, you know what? Fuck.
Yeah.
You guys were right. Like, goddamn. Like, why are we trusting them?
But no, those people will just go, I mean, the CDC now is telling us that it's okay. So now it's okay because the CDC said.
Yeah, I know. But that's
like
the wake up. That's the wake
Yeah,
up call
it
they
should have
should
been
have.
Yeah, it should have been the wake up call. Yeah, it should have been the, oh shit, maybe they were right. And maybe everybody who stood up against this, maybe they were, they kind of had a point. But no, it was, the CDC's right now. Now the CDC says, so it's okay. No.
It's the same circular discussion, because now they're doing internal probes into how the pandemic was handled. And one of the reports that came out is that Donald Trump pushed and encouraged the FDA to ignore safety regulations that, push the vaccine on people sooner. Well, number one, they're telling you that because something's coming down the pipeline and they already know that it's coming down the pipeline, and they're finding their scapegoat. But number two, clearly the CDC and the FDA and all of these government agencies need more authority and money to be able to override this problem. So we're going to have to give them more.
Yep. Exactly.
You just hit the nail on the head, my friend. It was
it's
1,000%. You are 1,000% correct.
Right. It's that 1,000-yard stare on what the goal is for them. And like, it's easy to see because they keep it's the rinse and repeat.
Yep.
Yeah. It's what did Nancy Pelosi say? It's the wrap up smear.
Yeah.
You say something's really bad, really bad, really bad, really bad. You get everybody, the media involved, and everybody says it's really bad, and then all of a sudden everybody flips, and and then oh no, that is really bad.
And if any one of us dares to say, well, maybe the FDA wasn't really that effective, and maybe we don't need it, extremist, radical.
Mm-hmm. Which FDA, we don't fucking need them. Like, I'm sorry, but we don't. Like, how much shit has been put through the FDA that's been taken off, caused cancer. It's fucking ridiculous.
The FDA used to tell you that eating 3 eggs or 6 eggs a week would cause high cholesterol. And then they told you eating eggs is good for your cholesterol. And then they told you eating eggs was bad for your cholesterol. Then they told you coffee was bad for your cholesterol. Then they told you coffee was good. Make up your fucking mind, lady. Which one is it? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it good? Is it bad?
Now I'm just waiting for eggs to be bad for the fucking environment and global warming. That's what I'm waiting for.
No, I'm waiting for egg farts to be bad.
Yeah.
they're gonna put me down like they did those cattle.
How many eggs did you eat today? God damn.
That's my favorite part of that too, is the cattle being bad for global warming. And the reason that the cow farts are so bad for the environment is they produce methane within their farts. And that's scientifically sound, but the reason that happens is because they eat an entirely plant-based diet. So what happens if we as humans switch over to an entirely vegan diet?
You ever smell a vegan fart? They're not delicious. I know people who pay for that stuff, but not me. But it's the cow farts. It's not the 400 million air conditioners in New York City and in California. That's not the problem. It's not the high rises and everybody's got an air conditioner outside hanging out the window that, you look up and all of a sudden you might die. Not that. Not the 40 million cars that are going through in and out of New York every day. People driving. It's not the ferry. No, none of that. Cow farts in the middle of Kansas.
We are not going to answer for our consumerism. That's the whole deal.
Right.
We're not going to stop consuming the way that we do. The issue is whatever we can pin it on that's the least inconvenient to solve.
My favorite though is you have John Kerry taking a plane around telling people that they need to stop polluting and they need to stop taking their vehicles. Hey, John, how about you sail across the seas like Christopher Columbus on a sailboat and you go tell people that?
Right.
No, you have to take your plane, and everybody has to take their plane to Davos and, and sit there and talk about how everybody else is ruining the planet as they're taking off.
What it carries like, I'm not going to apologize for taking my private jet. Like, come on, man.
Even that girl Greta Thunberg, I'm going to come down there in a wind powered boat, and then I'm going to have 17 people fly back with the boat. Like, wait a minute.
Okay.
Hold on. I see what you did there. It's just the hypocrisy in the whole thing. Leonardo DiCaprio telling everybody they got to cut down on pollution while he's got 6 houses and 4 planes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Leo, give me a break here, pal.
Yeah,
I mean,
and he
you're a great
bitches
actor.
about the environment all the time, but yet, yeah.
You're a great actor. I loved you in Basketball Diaries. I loved you in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. But shut up. Shut the fuck up. I'm sick and tired of you. Sick and tired of everybody in Hollywood telling us how to live. You know, all these people, like we said a bunch of times, all these idiots that are talking about how we got to support Ukraine are going over to Ukraine and having photo shoots with the fucking Ukrainian president.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but there's a war over there. Let's go take a picture.
Yeah. I'm sorry. If there was a war in my country and I was the fucking president of the place, I wouldn't be taking a photo with anybody except for a body next to me if I was winning. That's about fucking it.
Being the president on the front line that everybody keeps saying he is.
Yeah.
That he's this president that's, you know, fighting along with his people. Why are you on the front line and taking pictures with celebrities from America that flew over there?
And also, why are all your government officials all of a sudden receiving a 70% salary increase?
Right.
I mean, that happened. Like, what the fuck?
You know, like Vogue is over there staging wartime photos for their photo shoot. Like, couldn't you just step outside?
Yeah.
Like, you're on the front line, right? You just step outside, take some pics.
Yeah, dude. There's so much fishy shit happening there. Like, I'm not one to say it ain't happening, but I'm also one to say it's fucking bullshit. Whatever fucking is happening, because I mean, come on.
I like how people think that Vladimir Putin has like a soul and like, hey, Vlad, you got to stop doing this. And Vladimir Putin's going to be like, oh, you know, you're right. I'm going to stop. No, Vladimir Putin already told America to go fuck ourselves. And that's it. And if they want to play, I'm going to play. And that's it.
You're
cancel him harder.
You're canceled, Vlad.
We're
not canceling him. We're not canceling him hard enough.
Yeah.
Cancel him harder, daddy.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
He doesn't care that. And people think, once again, the rules that we have here in this country, they don't have in other countries.
Right.
They don't.
Right.
They don't have the First Amendment. They don't have the Second. They don't have the Third. If a country wants to make slaves again, which some do still have, they can do it if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And there's nothing we can do about it. There's no amount of protesting. There's no amount of, hey, Joe, go get this person. You know, there's no amount of that they'll go, okay, I'll let her go. I'll let your sports star go. I want 17 terrorists, 42 masterminds, and a player to be named later. Okay, we'll give you that. No problem. Oh, and $500 billion that, you know, that they sent over to Iraq for that one soldier.
Yeah.
That you know, another taxes. I still haven't got my $5,000, you motherfuckers.
Right. Guys, I hate to cut it short, but I do have to get going.
Short, dude. It's been an hour 45.
I was gonna say,
Joe Rogan the shit out of this.
It feels shorter though. This was a good time.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it because I was about to ask. Yeah, I knew you had to go to work soon, but I would love to have you on again because I love the points you make about a lot of shit. That was awesome. But on that note, plug wherever anybody can reach us, see your content, and all that jazz.
Canceled yet?
Yeah, I'm DK2radio.gov on TikTok, DK2Radio everywhere else. I've got the Liberty Season podcast that can be found on Spotify, on YouTube. You can find Liberty Season on TikTok, on all the social media platforms. Looking to get more regular episodes of that up and just kind of going online and ranting about anti-government things until they, you know, take me off the internet or kill me or whatever they're going to do.
Right. We didn't Epstein ourselves, I'll tell you that.
I like my life now. Thank you. I'm in Kansas, so we're good. I didn't Epstein myself. Thank you.
Well, yeah, hell of a talk, and yeah,
man.
I think
this is a great time. Thank you for coming on, man. You're a
absolutely
very knowledgeable autistic person, but you know we're gonna put that past. No, you were great to have on, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate your knowledge and appreciate your TikToks. You know, they're really good, very knowledgeable, and you have some great points on them.
Yeah,
that are
definitely.
very smart, and people need to listen to, you know, smart points, smart takes on things, and, you know, not just go ham on, you know, on just because they don't like it. Just take it and listen to it and just pause and ingest it and think
Right.
about it, you know.
Yep.
And you do that. You give great points on topics. And I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, but you do. But
I appreciate that.
I'm not very articulate with the way I talk and the way I remember things. I'm lucky I remember how to pee in the morning. So, but
yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys having me on.
anytime,
yeah.
man.
All right.
Anytime. Just
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do this again.
Yeah, definitely
All right.
looking forward to it again. And on that note, everybody have a good night. Appreciate everyone that listened.
Thanks for stopping by.
See ya.
Later.
Later.